Hi guys, Carissa here with Inky Fairy Designs for the Blitsy creative team. Today we're going to take another background page that we completed in a previous blog post and we're going to finish out the journal page. Now this background page we started using the one on the right with lots of tags and the strings and texture, and I wanted to show you how to use an acrylic glazing medium to kind of fill in all of those nooks and crannies and create a more distressed look. We're going to be adding tons of layers onto this page, so I definitely want to start out with a light coat of gesso over all of that texture that we laid down before. And so just using some gesso and some water, I'm spreading it around and coating my entire page so that it will stand up to all of the layers and layers and layers of paint and mediums that we're going to put on top. This glazing medium is so much fun to use. I am putting it on one of the Reeves tear-off palettes. I'm kind of putting it in like 1 part acrylic glazing liquid and 1 part paint. So I'm using the golden quinacridone nickel aza gold, and just eyeballing it. I'm putting a little squirt of the paint, and then I'm gonna put a little squirt of the acrylic glazing on top. Now I'm using the golden acrylic glazing medium, but I know there's a lot of other ones on the market, so you can definitely use whichever one you prefer, but this is the one that I like using. It's the one I'm most comfortable with. And so I'm just gonna mix that together with a paintbrush, and then we're going to add it to our page. So the way that the glazing works, it actually extends the drying time of your paint. So I am going to put this all over my panel, and again we're working on a Dina Wakley mixed media board, I think media board, and but this also works obviously in your art journal pages, any of your art journals, on canvases. So you're just going to put it all, I just put it all over my canvas, but you could certainly just concentrate on the places that you want to glaze on. And you can use this as a first layer like I'm doing today, or you can use it on top of the many layers that you add later. So you want to let it sit for about a minute to a minute and a half, sometimes 2 minutes, just depends. And the longer that you let it sit, the more it's going to soak into the nooks and crannies. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a clean baby wipe and you're going to start wiping away the paint from the areas that you don't want that glazing medium and that color to be. Now, every time you use a new baby wipe, you're going to get it whiter. So if you use a dirty baby wipe, like from what you've already used, it's not going to pick up so much. You're going to spread more of the color around. But if you wanted to get it more white space, you can get a clean baby wipe or use a clean section of your baby wipe, and it'll pick up more of that color. So once that's dry, I'm going to come in with some, I think this is the golden teal, and I am just spreading it around. I think I just put some on my canvas, and now I'm spreading it around with my fingers, and then I'm gonna kind of wipe away some with a baby wipe. You can see that I really like to use baby wipes in my mixed media. I like that it's a wet surface, but it's not super wet. It's just kind of damp, and it gives you a lot more playtime, when you're working with different layers. So I'm gonna let that dry. And then I want to bring in some more glazing on top of that blue. So you can see how I did the glazing as a first layer, and you'll also be able to see how I do the glazing on the second layer. So again, I'm concentrating only on the tag areas because I really wanted to get like the outline of the tags and those strings. I really wanted to get that glazing into those nooks and crannies and create more of a distressed look. So I let that sit aside to dry for about a minute and a half, and now I'm coming in with a baby wipe, and just like before, I'm wiping it away, but you'll see that some of that glaze and some of that paint is going to stick more to where there was more texture. So it kind of just settles into all of those bumpy areas. So now I'm coming in, I'm going to start adding some more layers. I'm taking this, I think I'm not sure, quinacridone magenta, I believe, and I'm putting that on the top of my panel, and then I'm going to add some water and just let it drip down. I'm going to set that aside to dry, and then when it's completely dry, I'm going to come back and add some more texture with a stencil. So now that it's pretty much dry, I'm a little bit impatient, so it might not be completely dry by this point. I'm taking this Donna Downey stencil and some Deco Art medium misters in white and black, and I'm going to spritz some of that white towards the top where it's darker on my panel, and then I'm going to spritz some of the black towards the bottom and kind of overlap a little bit. And that just adds another layer and some dimension and some texture to my background. Now I felt that it was getting really, really dark, and so I wanted to bring in some white. So I'm taking titanium white by Golden, and I can't remember what this is called. It's like the sequin, leftover sequin stuff, and I know it has a name, and I'm totally drawing a blank right now. Anyway, I'm using that as a stencil, and I'm just kind of sponging some of that white paint through it with a makeup sponge, but you could totally use anything you have on hand. And now I wanted to bring some more of that teal color back to the foreground of my panel because it kind of got pushed back with the additional layers that I added, and I felt that that magenta really darkened up this page, so I'm just kind of pushing that more towards the back as well. So with mixed media, it's just kind of push and pull and play and add layers. If you don't like something, you can cover it up like I'm doing here. I'm adding some more white to it because I felt that it needed some more white areas. And so I'm kind of mixing those two colors together until I'm happy. So you just kind of have to work with it until you are satisfied with the outcome. There's a lot of experimentation in mixed media, and there's a lot of pushing past the ugly in mixed media because there's points where I want to give up and say, oh, this is just not working. It's just not going anywhere. But then as I keep moving forward, as my kind of title of this piece becomes, forward motion, it ends up all working out in the end. So I took a brush pen filled with India ink, and I just kind of brush script my sentiment onto my panel. And now I'm outlining it and filling in all of the open spaces with my white uniball gel pen. You guys know probably by now that this is my favorite gel pen to use in mixed media. I feel like it just always works over no matter how many layers that I've added, and I find that it's just kind of the best one that I have, and it's super bright white, which is something that's important to me when I'm using it to outline my words because I really want it to stand and pop out. The one thing to remember with the Uniball white gel pen is that it is water-based, so if you were to put layers on top, or if you were to seal it with a liquid-based brush, you know, like something that you seal with a brush, it is going to smear. So that's something that I want to point out. I don't think I've mentioned that before. So what I usually do is I will use an acrylic spray sealer to seal my project, and then I can go in over top that gently and add any additional sealant that I want over my work. But I find that just the acrylic spray sealer works great, and it doesn't, because it's a spray bottle, it doesn't activate that white gel pen as much as if you were brushing a sealer over it. So now I'm taking this black, oh my goodness, I'm so drawing blank on names right now, but I'll have all of the supplies listed, of course, on the Blitsy blog, and I'm just outlining the page, and I am bringing some of that black, kind of like smearing it onto my canvas just to add a little bit more texture onto my panel. And I really just like the way that black pops against all of those layers, and it really ties in the black of the words on the page. So I thought I was done, but then I kept looking at it and I thought it needed just something a little bit more. So I'm taking out my Dr. P.H. Martin Bombay India ink and I'm covering my title, and I'm going to just kind of drop some drops onto some ink splatters onto my panel. And then when I lift this up, I'm like, okay, yes, that is done. So I hope you enjoyed this video and could see how you can add layers on top of layers and see how the acrylic glazing medium works. And I hope you guys try it out because it's a super fun medium to have along with all of your mixed media supplies. I love it when you have really super textured backgrounds. It really seems to fill in those areas and create a more distressed look on any of your backgrounds. So for more ideas and inspiration, visit the Blitsy blog and Facebook page. Until next time, happy crafting.